Hey, I'm John Debelot, the founder of Diaspora Freedom Initiative, and this is the Freedom Philosophy. So here we talk a lot about generational wealth, we talk a lot about business, we talk a lot about the accountability that exists in those things. However, some of our clients are just retirees. They don't care about business, and unfortunately, some of them don't care about generational wealth. They just want to retire and enjoy their retirement, and we do have a little something for them too. Now, most of our retirees do retire to the coast. They don't necessarily just retire to the coast because of the beach. For example, typically Diani has a 30% cost of living discount as compared to Nairobi. And you live the higher end of a lifestyle than you would in Nairobi, right? So in Nairobi, there's a cost of living for a very low end lifestyle. There's a medium, lifestyle, and there's a high end lifestyle. Okay, there's even an ultra high net worth lifestyle in Nairobi. Everything is there, right? But on that high end lifestyle, you're typically looking at a fairly significant monthly cost of living. You can get a high end lifestyle down here for about a 30% discount on a Nairobi medium lifestyle cost of living, right? So a lot of our retirees, especially if they're not concerned about generational wealth and they're not concerned about business income, they are on a fixed income essentially. Their pensions, their 401ks, their Social Security, whatever it may be, right? And so that 30% discount really matters to them. Plus, they get the beach, they get the beautiful views, they get the good weather, and the private hospitals where they still get a very high level of health care. They also get a compressed community, right? You can be living in Nairobi and need something that's also in Nairobi and it still be an hour's drive away, right? Most of your needs are available in Diani, and Diani, if you drive an hour, you're no longer in Diani, right? Diani is way smaller than that, so your transportation fees are also reduced. Travel accessibility is also easier from Diani. Like I said, you can drive an hour in Nairobi and not get to where you're going and still be in Nairobi. Here, if you drive 30 minutes, you are absolutely no longer in Diani. So Diani has its own airport. It's called the Diani Airstrip. And that airport takes you to all kinds of regional locales, right? But if you drive just 45 minutes, you end up at the Mombasa International Airport. A lot of our clients who live here, they never go to Nairobi Airport. They fly directly into Mombasa International. Okay, so you're able to fly in and out of Mombasa International Airport and not deal with the hectic landscape of Nairobi International Airport, right? For example, while Nairobi International was dealing with that issue a year or two ago where they were opening people's bags and charging them custom fees for everything and being really aggressive with that, and unfortunately it was a bad look for the country at the time, Mombasa International Airport wasn't doing that. So our clients were flying in and they weren't being harassed and they weren't having their bags open and anybody bothering them, for additional fines and fees that needed to be paid because it's the second tier airport. There are also no kind of third party effects that impact things like your healthcare, right? You might have really great hospitals in Nairobi, but you have really bad traffic. If there's an emergency, how quickly are you going to get to that hospital? There is no traffic in Diani. So if you have an emergency, you're going to get to that hospital as quickly as possible, right? So those kind of ancillary, issues that affect and impact your quality of life don't necessarily exist here. Most government agencies are represented in the second largest city in Kenya, which is Mombasa, again, within 30 minutes drive, right? 45 minutes max. So when we engage with government agencies on this side, we don't get the same rigmarole that you might get in Nairobi simply because of the sheer volume of what's going on in Nairobi. So for example, our immigration clients, we typically take care of all of their immigration interviews and meetings within a couple of hours. Whereas in Nairobi, you could be sitting in Nyayo House for an entire day. Also, there's a lot of friction sometimes with law enforcement, not knowing what laws are applicable here, not knowing how to file reports and things of that nature. In Diani, there are specially trained police. They're actually called tourist police, and they're specially trained to deal with people who don't understand the legal landscape of Kenya, which makes interactions with police, if you have to report something stolen or you have to, report anything at all, it makes that interaction way smoother. Overall, the vast majority of our retiring clients retire to the coast, and a lot of them love Diani.